I saw beings of light that weren't Buddha or any deity I recognized. They showed me truths about reality that contradicted everything I'd learned in my decades as a monk. These are the words of a Buddhist master whose near-death experience is sending shockwaves through religious and scientific communities alike. Join us as we unravel the mystery of his journey beyond death and the profound implications it holds for all of us. Before his extraordinary journey beyond death, Venerable Tenzin Choegyal was a man deeply rooted in the ancient wisdom of Buddhism. Born in a small village nestled in the Himalayan foothills, Tenzin began his spiritual journey at the tender age of 7 when he entered the local monastery. From those early days, his life was a testament to unwavering dedication and rigorous discipline. As the years passed, Tenzin's commitment to the Buddhist path only grew stronger. He spent countless hours poring over ancient texts, memorizing sutras, and engaging in deep philosophical debates with his fellow monks. His teachers quickly recognized his exceptional aptitude and burning desire for spiritual growth. By his early 20s, Tenzin had already gained a reputation as a gifted scholar and meditator. Tenzin's daily life was a carefully orchestrated symphony of rituals and practices. Each morning, long before the sun peeked over the mountain peaks, he would rise for his first meditation session. The stillness of the pre-dawn hours provided the perfect backdrop for his contemplations on the nature of reality and the path to enlightenment. Throughout the day, he would alternate between periods of intense study, mindful work in the monastery gardens, and further meditation sessions. But it was in the realm of meditation that Tenzin truly excelled. He had an uncanny ability to enter deep states of concentration, often remaining motionless for hours on end. His fellow monks would marvel at his focus, noting how even the most persistent mosquitoes seemed unable to break his trance-like state. Tenzin's prowess in meditation stemmed from his profound understanding of core Buddhist concepts like impermanence, non-self, and the nature of suffering. As Tenzin's reputation grew, so did his responsibilities within the monastic community. He began to teach younger monks, sharing his insights on the intricacies of Buddhist philosophy and guiding them through the challenges of their own meditative practices. His teachings were known for their clarity and depth, often drawing parallels between ancient wisdom and the everyday experiences of his students. It was this very dedication that led Tenzin to embark on an intensive meditation retreat. The senior monks had selected him to participate in a rare and sacred practice, a full year of isolated contemplation in a remote mountain hermitage. This retreat was not for the faint of heart. It would require Tenzin to push the boundaries of his mental and physical endurance, spending long hours in meditation with minimal food and sleep. As Tenzin prepared for his journey, there was a palpable sense of anticipation in the air. His fellow monks saw this as the next logical step in his spiritual evolution, a chance for him to touch the rarefied heights of enlightenment that few ever reach. Tenzin himself approached the retreat with a mixture of excitement and humility, fully aware of the challenges that lay ahead. On the day of his departure, Tenzin bowed deeply to his teachers and fellow monks. With a small pack containing only the barest essentials, he set off on the winding mountain path that would lead him to the hermitage. As he disappeared into the mist-shrouded peaks, none could have predicted the profound transformation that awaited him. For Tenzin Choegyal, a lifetime of devotion to traditional Buddhist teachings was about to collide with an experience that would shatter his understanding of reality itself. The remote mountain hermitage promised solitude and enlightenment. Instead, it became the stage for an encounter with mortality that would push Tenzin to the very limits of existence. As his vital signs began to fade, a new and unexpected chapter in his spiritual odyssey was about to unfold. Tenzin's first days in the hermitage were marked by an intense focus and deepening meditation. He settled into a rhythm of near-constant contemplation, his mind probing the subtle layers of consciousness. The outside world faded away as Tenzin's awareness turned inward, exploring the vast landscapes of his inner being. On the seventh day, something shifted. Tenzin entered a state of meditation more profound than any he had experienced before. His breath slowed to an almost imperceptible rhythm. His body became as still as the ancient stones surrounding the hermitage. For hours, he remained in this state of deep absorption, seemingly untethered from the physical world. It was then that the unexpected occurred. A searing pain suddenly gripped Tenzin's chest, jolting him from his meditative state. He gasped for air, his body convulsing as waves of agony washed over him. The tranquil silence of the hermitage was shattered by his labored breathing and involuntary cries of distress. Hakpa, a fellow monk on retreat, heard Tenzin's cries and rushed to his aid. He found Tenzin collapsed on the floor, his face ashen and his lips turning blue. Lakpa's medical training kicked in as he assessed the situation. Tenzin's pulse was weak and erratic, his breathing shallow and strained. All signs pointed to a severe cardiac event. As Lakpa worked frantically to stabilize Tenzin, he sent another monk to seek help from the nearest village. But time was not on their side. Tenzin's condition deteriorated rapidly, his vital signs growing weaker with each passing moment. The calm serenity that had marked his face throughout years of meditation was replaced by a mask of pain and struggle. In those critical moments, as Tenzin hovered between life and death, something extraordinary began to unfold. While his physical body showed all the signs of shutting down, Tenzin's consciousness seemed to expand. His eyes, though barely open, held a look of wonder and awe, as if witnessing something beyond the confines of the small hermitage room. Lakpa, trained in both medicine and Buddhist practices, recognized the signs. Tenzin was not just dying, he was entering the bardo, the liminal state between death and rebirth described in Tibetan Buddhist texts. But there was something different about this transition, something that didn't align with the traditional teachings. As Tenzin's pulse faded to nothing and his chest fell still, Lakpa made the grim pronouncement, clinical death had occurred. The monk who had dedicated his life to understanding the nature of existence had now crossed the threshold into the great unknown. But for Tenzin, this was not an ending. As his physical form lay motionless on the hermitage floor, his consciousness embarked on a journey that would challenge everything he thought he knew about life, death, and the fundamental nature of reality. The veil between worlds had lifted, and Tenzin Choegyal was about to experience revelations that would shake the foundations of his faith and understanding. Tenzin's consciousness drifted beyond his lifeless body, entering a realm that defied all expectation. The teachings of Buddhism had not prepared him for what he was about to witness. What lay beyond the veil of death was far stranger and more profound than anything described in ancient texts. As Tenzin's awareness expanded, he found himself immersed in a dimension of pure energy and light. Gone were the familiar contours of the physical world, replaced by swirling patterns of vibrant colors that seemed to pulse with life and meaning. Each hue carried with it a distinct vibration, resonating with Tenzin's very essence in ways he couldn't fully comprehend. The sensory experience was overwhelming. Tenzin felt as if he could perceive everything at once, past, present, and future, blending into a single eternal moment. Sounds that had no earthly equivalent washed over him, a celestial symphony that spoke directly to his soul. The air, if it could be called that, was thick with a palpable sense of love and acceptance that brought tears to Tenzin's non-physical eyes. Emotions coursed through Tenzin with an intensity he had never known in life. Joy, wonder, and awe intermingled with a profound sense of homecoming. Yet beneath it all lay a current of confusion and disbelief. This was not the bardo state he had studied and prepared for throughout his monastic life. There were no wrathful or peaceful deities, no karmic visions to navigate. Instead, Tenzin found himself adrift in a sea of pure consciousness, untethered from all he had ever known or believed. As Tenzin struggled to make sense of his surroundings, he became aware of presences around him. At first, they appeared as mere flickers of light, darting at the edges of his perception. But as he focused his attention, these flickers coalesced into distinct forms, beings of radiant light that pulsed with intelligence and purpose. These entities were unlike anything Tenzin had encountered in his extensive studies of Buddhist cosmology. They were neither the enlightened Buddhas he had venerated, nor the familiar deities of the Tibetan pantheon. Instead, they seemed to embody pure consciousness, their very essence radiating wisdom and compassion beyond human comprehension. Tenzin felt a mixture of awe and trepidation as these beings drew closer. Their presence was both comforting and unsettling, a paradox that challenged the very foundations of his understanding. He sensed that these entities held knowledge that would forever alter his perception of reality. As the beings of light surrounded Tenzin, he felt a subtle shift in the fabric of this otherworldly realm. The swirling colors seemed to intensify, the celestial music reaching a crescendo. Tenzin's non-physical form trembled with anticipation, knowing instinctively that he stood on the precipice of a monumental revelation. The stage was set for an encounter that would challenge everything Tenzin had ever known about spirituality, consciousness, and the nature of existence itself. Little did he know that the insights he was about to receive would not only transform his own life, but potentially reshape humanity's understanding of the cosmos and our place within it. The beings of light surrounded Tenzin, their radiance pulsing with an otherworldly intelligence. As he stood in awe, a profound silence fell over the celestial realm. In that moment of stillness, a single thought crystallized in Tenzin's mind: what if everything I've devoted my life to is wrong? The answer that followed would shake the very foundations of Buddhist doctrine. The entities began to communicate, not through words, but through a direct transmission of pure thought and emotion. Their first message struck Tenzin like a thunderbolt. The self you've been taught to transcend is not an illusion, but a beautiful, eternal fragment of the cosmic whole. This concept flew in the face of Buddhism's core teaching of anatta, or non-self. Tenzin's mind reeled as he struggled to reconcile this revelation with decades of spiritual training. As the beings continued their cosmic download, more contradictions emerged. They spoke of a grand, interconnected consciousness that encompassed all of existence, yet also emphasized the importance and permanence of individual souls. This clashed with the Buddhist notion of impermanence and the cycle of rebirth. Tenzin felt a mixture of fascination and resistance, his deeply ingrained beliefs battling against these new, paradigm-shifting ideas. The entities then revealed a perspective on karma that diverged significantly from Buddhist tradition. They suggested that karma was not a cosmic system of justice, but rather a tool for soul growth and experiential learning. The concept of enlightenment, too, was reframed not as an escape from the cycle of rebirth, but as an ever-expanding journey of consciousness exploration. Tenzin's internal struggle intensified. He had spent a lifetime cultivating detachment and seeking liberation from desire, yet these beings spoke of the inherent value in earthly experiences and emotions. They painted a picture of a universe teeming with purpose and intention, where every soul played a crucial role in the grand tapestry of existence. As Tenzin grappled with these revelations, he sensed that an even greater truth was about to be unveiled. The light beings seemed to converge, their energies coalescing into a singular point of blinding brilliance. Tenzin braced himself, knowing that whatever came next would forever alter his understanding of reality. In a moment of cosmic clarity, the final revelation washed over him. Consciousness itself was the fundamental fabric of the universe. Everything, matter, energy, space, and time, was an expression of this primordial awareness. Tenzin saw how each individual consciousness, including his own, was simultaneously a unique perspective and an integral part of this greater whole. This profound insight shattered Tenzin's previous conception of enlightenment. He realized that true awakening wasn't about transcending the material world, but about fully embracing one's role within the cosmic dance of consciousness. The boundaries between self and other, between spiritual and material, dissolved in the light of this all-encompassing truth. As the vision began to fade, and Tenzin felt himself being drawn back towards his physical form, a new question arose. How could he possibly reconcile these cosmic revelations with the faith and practices that had defined his entire life? The journey back to his earthly existence would be just the beginning of a far greater spiritual odyssey. What happens when you bring the secrets of the cosmos back to Earth? For Tenzin, the journey home would prove far more challenging than his celestial ascent. As he traversed the boundaries between worlds, a startling realization dawned, one that would shake the foundations of everything he thought he knew about life and death. Tenzin felt an unmistakable pull, drawing him back towards his physical form. It started as a gentle tug, barely noticeable amidst the sea of cosmic revelations. But as moments passed, the force grew stronger, more insistent. A part of him resisted, yearning to remain in this realm of pure wisdom. There was still so much to learn, so many mysteries to unravel. The beings of light seemed to sense his reluctance, their energy pulsing with a mixture of understanding and encouragement. As Tenzin began his descent through the layers of existence, he experienced a cascade of sensations. The vibrant colors that had surrounded him began to fade, replaced by muted tones and shadowy forms. The all-encompassing feeling of unity gave way to a growing sense of separation and individuality. It was as if he were passing through veils of consciousness, each one obscuring a bit more of the profound truths he had glimpsed. The journey back was not a smooth, linear path. Tenzin found himself navigating through what seemed like different planes of reality. In one moment, he witnessed swirling patterns of energy that he somehow knew represented the building blocks of matter. In another, he caught fleeting glimpses of other souls on their own journeys, some ascending, others descending like himself. As Tenzin drew closer to the physical realm, a sense of heaviness began to envelop him. The lightness and freedom he had experienced in the higher dimensions gave way to a feeling of confinement. It was as if he were being compressed, his vast cosmic awareness being funneled back into the limited perspective of his human brain. The final moments of Tenzin's return were intense. He felt a sudden rush, like plunging into icy water. His awareness snapped back into his physical body with a jolt. Sensations flooded in, the hardness of the floor beneath him, the cool air on his skin, the ache in his chest where his heart had stopped. For a moment, the two realities seemed to overlap. Tenzin could still sense echoes of the celestial realm, even as his physical senses reasserted themselves. With a gasping breath, Tenzin's eyes flew open. He found himself staring at the concerned face of Lakpa, who had been tending to his lifeless body. The sudden return to life sent shockwaves through Tenzin's system. His heart raced, his lungs burned as they filled with air, and every nerve ending seemed to tingle with renewed energy. As his breathing steadied, a wave of emotions washed over Tenzin. Relief at being alive mingled with a profound sense of awe and wonder at what he had experienced. But there was also an undercurrent of anxiety. The weight of the knowledge he had gained pressed upon him. Would he be able to retain all that he had learned? Could he possibly convey the vastness of his experience to others? Tenzin slowly sat up, his body feeling simultaneously familiar and strange. As he looked around the simple hermitage room, he realized that while only minutes had passed in this world, he had undergone a transformation that would alter the course of his life. The real challenge, he knew, was only just beginning. How could he integrate these cosmic revelations into his earthly existence? And more importantly, how would the world receive the profound truths he had to share? Tenzin's return to the monastery was marked by a profound sense of disorientation. The familiar sights and sounds of his lifelong home now seemed strangely alien, as if viewed through a warped lens. His fellow monks noticed the change immediately. The serene, unwavering presence they had come to expect from Tenzin was replaced by a man who appeared constantly distracted, his eyes often distant and unfocused. In the days that followed, Tenzin struggled to reconcile his cosmic revelations with the structured routine of monastic life. During morning prayers, he found himself questioning the very mantras he had recited thousands of times before. The concepts of karma and rebirth, once cornerstones of his faith, now felt woefully inadequate in light of the vast, interconnected consciousness he had experienced. His teachings began to shift dramatically. In his Dharma talks, Tenzin spoke of a universe teeming with purpose and intention, where every soul played a crucial role. He described a reality where the self was not an illusion to be transcended, but an eternal fragment of a greater whole. His fellow monks listened with a mixture of fascination and growing concern. These ideas, while captivating, stood in stark contrast to the traditional Buddhist doctrines they had devoted their lives to upholding. The conflict between Tenzin's new insights and his monastic duties became increasingly apparent. During a meditation session, he found himself unable to focus on the prescribed visualizations. Instead, his mind kept returning to the swirling patterns of energy he had witnessed in the higher realms. When asked to lead a ceremony on the impermanence of all things, Tenzin hesitated, knowing that he now understood existence in a fundamentally different way. Reactions from his peers and superiors were mixed. Some monks were drawn to Tenzin's transformed presence, sensing a profound shift in his understanding. They sought him out in private, eager to hear more about his experience beyond death. Others, particularly the more conservative elders, viewed his new teachings with suspicion and concern. They saw his divergence from orthodox Buddhism as a potential threat to the stability of their ancient traditions. Tensions came to a head during a meeting of the monastery's senior council. Tenzin was called to account for his unconventional teachings. As he stood before his mentors and peers, a palpable sense of anticipation filled the air. Would Tenzin recant his new beliefs and return to the fold, or would his unwavering commitment to his revelations force him to leave the only home he had ever known? In that moment, Tenzin underwent a profound personal transformation. He realized that his journey of awakening was far from over. With humility and conviction, he acknowledged the value of his monastic training while also affirming the truth of his otherworldly experience. He proposed a middle path, one that honored tradition while remaining open to new understanding. The council's decision was not unanimous, but they ultimately allowed Tenzin to remain, recognizing the sincerity of his transformation. However, as Tenzin left the meeting, he knew that his greatest challenge lay ahead. The world beyond the monastery walls was not yet ready for the message he carried. The cosmic truths he had glimpsed would challenge not just Buddhism, but the very foundations of human understanding about life, death, and the nature of reality itself. While Tenzin's revelations challenged religious orthodoxy, they also caught the attention of an unexpected audience: neuroscientists. What if the key to unlocking the mysteries of consciousness lay not in ancient texts, but in the intricate folds of the human brain? A groundbreaking study was about to push the boundaries of what we thought possible in understanding near-death experiences. As word of Tenzin's extraordinary journey spread beyond the monastery walls, it sparked intense curiosity in the scientific community. Dr. Sarah Chen, a leading neuroscientist at Stanford University, found herself captivated by the monk's account. Here was a man with decades of meditation experience, trained in the subtleties of consciousness, reporting a profound altered state during clinical death, Dr. Chen explained. It presented a unique opportunity to explore the neural correlates of near-death experiences in a highly skilled subject. Not everyone in the scientific community shared Dr. Chen's enthusiasm. Skeptics were quick to dismiss Tenzin's experience as nothing more than the product of a dying brain. Dr. Michael Rothman, a neurologist at Johns Hopkins, argued that the vivid sensations and insights reported during NDEs could be explained by a cascade of neurochemical reactions. When the brain is deprived of oxygen, it can produce hallucinations and feelings of transcendence, Dr. Rothman stated. It's a purely physiological response, not a journey to another realm. The debate intensified as researchers delved deeper into the neuroscience of NDEs. Recent studies using EEG measurements on cardiac arrest patients had yielded intriguing results. Dr. Emma Larson, a researcher at the University of Copenhagen, found patterns of brain activity during the early stages of clinical death that defied conventional understanding. We observed bursts of gamma-wave activity associated with heightened consciousness at a time when the brain should have been shutting down, Dr. Larson revealed. It suggests a level of cognitive processing that we wouldn't expect in a dying brain. As the scientific community grappled with these findings, a team of researchers at the Max Planck Institute for Brain Research proposed a groundbreaking study. They aimed to use advanced neuroimaging techniques to monitor the brain activity of experienced meditators as they entered deep trance states, comparing the results to patterns observed in near-death experiences. The goal was to bridge the gap between subjective spiritual experiences and objective neurological data. Tenzin agreed to participate in the study, seeing it as an opportunity to validate his experience through the lens of science. As he lay in the fMRI machine, recalling his journey beyond death, researchers watched in amazement. The monk's brain lit up in ways they had never seen before, with unprecedented levels of connectivity between regions associated with self-awareness, memory, and emotional processing. The preliminary results of the study sent shockwaves through the scientific community. While they didn't provide definitive proof of an afterlife, they revealed neural pathways and states of consciousness previously thought impossible. Dr. Chen, reviewing the data, mused, "We may be witnessing the brain's capacity to access altered states of awareness that extend beyond our current understanding of physics and neurobiology." As exciting as these findings were, they also highlighted the limitations of current scientific methods in fully explaining the ineffable. The raw data, while groundbreaking, couldn't capture the profound emotional and spiritual impact of Tenzin's experience. It was a stark reminder that some aspects of consciousness might remain beyond the reach of our most advanced technologies, leaving the door open to further exploration of the enigmatic boundary between life and death. Beyond the realm of scientific inquiry, Tenzin's revelations were about to face their greatest test yet. In monasteries across Asia, revered Buddhist scholars were gathering to confront a question that threatened to divide their community. Could an experience of the afterlife rewrite the teachings of the Buddha himself? As word of Tenzin's extraordinary journey spread through the Buddhist world, it ignited a firestorm of debate. Monks, nuns, and lay practitioners alike found themselves grappling with the implications of his account. The very foundations of Buddhist doctrine seemed to tremble in the wake of Tenzin's revelations. In the hallowed halls of Nalanda University, a group of senior monks pored over ancient texts, seeking precedents for such a transformative experience. Some argued that Tenzin's journey aligned with the Buddha's own enlightenment, a profound awakening that transcended conventional understanding. Others vehemently disagreed, pointing to core tenets of Buddhism that seemed at odds with Tenzin's account. The Dalai Lama himself weighed in on the matter, urging caution and open-mindedness. "We must approach this with both skepticism and compassion," he stated during a press conference. "Our tradition has always valued direct experience, but we must also be wary of delusion." As the debate raged on, historical parallels began to emerge. Scholars drew comparisons to the Great Schism between Mahayana and Theravada Buddhism, when differing interpretations of the Buddha's teachings led to the formation of distinct schools of thought. Some feared that Tenzin's experience could spark a similar divide, potentially fracturing the Buddhist community. In Japan, Zen masters grappled with the implications of Tenzin's account for their own practice of seeking enlightenment through meditation. "If consciousness truly extends beyond death," one prominent Roshi mused, "how does this change our understanding of Satori?" Meanwhile, in the forests of Thailand, ascetic monks debated whether Tenzin's journey represented a form of attachment to supernatural phenomena, something the Buddha had warned against. "We must be careful not to be seduced by visions," cautioned one elder, "no matter how profound they may seem." As the controversy grew, it became clear that a formal response was needed. The Supreme Sangha Council of Thailand, one of the most respected Buddhist authorities in the world, convened an emergency meeting. Venerable monks from various traditions gathered to hear Tenzin's account firsthand and to deliberate on its significance for Buddhist doctrine. The air was thick with tension as Tenzin stood before the council, recounting his journey beyond death. As he spoke of beings of light and cosmic revelations, some monks nodded in recognition, while others frowned in disbelief. The chamber buzzed with whispered discussions and fervent debates. After days of intense deliberation, the council emerged with a carefully worded statement. They acknowledged the profundity of Tenzin's experience while cautioning against hasty reinterpretations of Buddhist teachings. "We recognize the potential for expanded understanding," the statement read, "but we must also remain grounded in the Buddha's core teachings of impermanence, non-self, and the cessation of suffering." As news of the council's decision spread, it became clear that the ripples from Tenzin's experience would continue to reverberate through the Buddhist world for years to come. But even as the debate raged on within Buddhism, scholars of other faiths began to take notice. The implications of Tenzin's journey, it seemed, extended far beyond the boundaries of any single religion. While the ripples of Tenzin's experience continued to spread through Buddhist circles, scholars of comparative religion began to take notice. The monk's account, rich with vivid descriptions of otherworldly realms and profound cosmic insights, struck a chord that resonated far beyond the confines of any single faith tradition. Dr. Elizabeth Hartley, a professor of religious studies at Harvard University, was among the first to draw parallels between Tenzin's experience and mystical accounts from other religions. "What's truly remarkable," she noted, "is how closely Tenzin's description of beings of light aligns with accounts from Christian near-death experiences. It's as if we're seeing different cultural interpretations of a universal truth." As researchers delved deeper, surprising similarities began to emerge across diverse belief systems. The Sufi mystic tradition in Islam, for instance, spoke of a realm of pure consciousness, not unlike the one Tenzin described. Jewish Kabbalistic texts hinted at layers of reality beyond the physical, echoing the monk's journey through different planes of existence. Perhaps most intriguing were the parallels found in indigenous spiritual practices. Dr. Miguel Sanchez, an anthropologist specializing in Amazonian shamanism, pointed out striking similarities between Tenzin's account and the visions reported by shamans during ayahuasca ceremonies. Both speak of encountering non-physical entities that impart wisdom about the nature of reality, Dr. Sanchez explained. "It's as if these experiences are tapping into a shared cosmic database of knowledge, As comparative religion experts pored over ancient texts and modern accounts, a pattern began to emerge. Time and again, mystics, prophets, and ordinary individuals who had brushed against the veil of death reported experiences that, while filtered through their own cultural lenses, shared common threads. The dissolution of the ego, encounters with beings of light, and profound revelations about the interconnectedness of all things appeared across cultures and centuries. Dr. Amira Patel, a neuroscientist turned religious scholar, proposed a unifying theory of spiritual experience. What if, she posited, these commonalities point to an underlying structure of consciousness itself? Perhaps what we're seeing is not just cultural interpretation, but glimpses of a fundamental reality that transcends our everyday perception. The implications of such a theory were staggering. If true, it would suggest that all religions in their purest form were different paths leading to the same cosmic truth. The parallels between Tenzin's Buddhist-influenced experience and accounts from other traditions seemed to support this idea, hinting at a universal spirituality that lay beneath the surface of diverse belief systems. As scholars continued to unravel these universal threads, a sense of anticipation built within academic and spiritual communities alike. Were we on the verge of a breakthrough in understanding the nature of consciousness and reality itself? The similarities between Tenzin's experience and other religious traditions had opened a door, inviting us to peer beyond the boundaries of our limited perceptions. Yet, as exciting as these revelations were, they also raised profound questions about the nature of reality itself. If consciousness truly extended beyond death, and if all spiritual paths were converging on a single truth, what did that mean for our understanding of the universe and our place within it? The journey of discovery, it seemed, was only just beginning. The monk's extraordinary journey beyond death opened a doorway to realms of consciousness previously unexplored by science. His vivid accounts of cosmic revelations and encounters with beings of pure light challenged our fundamental assumptions about the nature of mind and reality. Could our everyday perception truly be just the tip of an unfathomable iceberg of awareness? As researchers delved deeper into Tenzin's experience, they found themselves venturing into uncharted territories of neuroscience and consciousness studies. Dr. Amelia Reeves, a cognitive neuroscientist at MIT, proposed a groundbreaking theory that aligned with the monk's insights. What if consciousness isn't generated by the brain, but rather received and filtered by it, she posited. Tenzin's account suggests that when the brain's filtering mechanisms are bypassed, as in near-death experiences, we may access a vastly expanded field of awareness. This radical perspective found unexpected support from cutting-edge research on altered states of consciousness. Studies on psychedelic compounds like psilocybin and DMT revealed striking similarities to near-death experiences, including encounters with non-physical entities and profound shifts in perception of reality. Dr. Roland Fisher, a psychopharmacologist at Johns Hopkins University, noted, "We're seeing consistent patterns of expanded consciousness across various non-ordinary states. It's as if these experiences are revealing hidden dimensions of mind that our everyday awareness simply can't access." The implications of these findings sent shockwaves through the scientific community. If consciousness extended beyond the confines of the brain, how could we begin to study and measure it? Traditional models of mind based on materialist assumptions suddenly seemed woefully inadequate to explain the vast spectrum of human experience. A new paradigm of consciousness began to emerge, one that integrated insights from neuroscience, quantum physics, and ancient wisdom traditions. This model proposed that our normal waking state was merely a narrow band on a vast spectrum of potential awareness. Dr. Sophia Chen, a quantum physicist turned consciousness researcher, explained, We're beginning to see consciousness as a fundamental property of the universe, like space or time. Our individual minds may be localized expressions of this greater field of awareness. As excitement built around these new frontiers of mind exploration, so too did a sense of responsibility. If humans indeed possessed the capacity to access expanded states of consciousness, what were the implications for society, ethics, and our understanding of reality itself? The potential for both profound insight and dangerous delusion loomed large. Dr. Marcus Holloway, a bioethicist at Oxford University, cautioned, "As we push the boundaries of consciousness exploration, we must also develop new frameworks for integrating and interpreting these experiences. The power to reshape our perception of reality comes with great responsibility." Tenzin's journey beyond death had set in motion a revolution in our approach to studying consciousness. As scientists, philosophers, and spiritual seekers converged on this new frontier of understanding, one thing became clear: our exploration of the mind's true nature and potential had only just begun. The mysteries that lay ahead promised to transform not just our scientific understanding, but our very conception of what it means to be human. As the scientific community grappled with the implications of Tenzin's experience, the monk himself faced an even greater challenge. How does one live with knowledge that shatters the foundations of reality as we know it? Tenzin's return from death marked only the beginning of a profound personal transformation that would test the limits of his wisdom, compassion, and faith. In the months following his near-death experience, Tenzin wrestled with the weight of his cosmic revelations. He spent long hours in meditation, seeking to reconcile his newfound insights with the Buddhist teachings he had devoted his life to. The task proved daunting, as each attempt to put his experiences into words felt woefully inadequate. How could he convey the ineffable nature of pure consciousness or the profound interconnectedness of all things? Despite the challenges, Tenzin felt a deep responsibility to share what he had learned. He began to offer teachings that straddled the line between traditional Buddhism and his expanded understanding of reality. His talks drew large crowds, a mix of devoted followers and curious skeptics. Some listeners found his words deeply transformative, reporting profound shifts in their own spiritual practice. Others dismissed his accounts as the product of an oxygen-deprived brain or a vivid hallucination. The impact of Tenzin's new teachings rippled through his community. Long-time students grappled with concepts that seemed to contradict years of established doctrine. Some embraced the expanded perspective wholeheartedly, while others felt their faith shaken to its core. Tenzin found himself walking a tightrope, trying to honor his traditional roots while remaining true to his extraordinary experiences. The personal toll of Tenzin's transformed worldview was significant. He often felt isolated, caught between two worlds, the familiar realm of everyday existence and the vast cosmic awareness he had glimpsed. Sleep became elusive as his mind struggled to process the enormity of what he had witnessed. Yet alongside the challenges came moments of profound peace and clarity, a deep knowing that transcended all doubt. As Tenzin continued to integrate his insights, a bold new idea began to take shape. He envisioned a retreat center that would serve as a bridge between science and spirituality, a place where researchers and mystics could come together to explore the frontiers of consciousness. The project would be ambitious, requiring resources and support from both the scientific and Buddhist communities. With careful consideration, Tenzin began to lay the groundwork for this radical endeavor. He reached out to scientists who had shown interest in his experience, proposing collaborations that would push the boundaries of consciousness research. At the same time, he sought the blessing of senior Buddhist leaders, emphasizing the potential for deepening spiritual practice through scientific understanding. As news of Tenzin's project spread, it generated a mixture of excitement and controversy. Some hailed it as a visionary step towards a more holistic understanding of reality, while others feared it would undermine traditional spiritual practices. Tenzin remained steadfast in his vision, trusting that the insights he had gained would guide him on this new path. While Tenzin's journey of integration continued, his experience raised profound questions for all of humanity. If consciousness indeed extended beyond death, what implications did this hold for our understanding of life, purpose, and the nature of reality itself? As Tenzin took his first steps on this bold new path, the world watched with bated breath, wondering what revelations might emerge from the intersection of ancient wisdom and modern science. Imagine a world where the boundaries between life and death, consciousness and unconsciousness are not just blurred, but entirely reimagined. Tenzin's journey beyond clinical death opened a Pandora's box of questions that even the most brilliant minds struggle to answer. What truths about our existence lie hidden in the space between science and spirituality? The implications of Tenzin's experience extend far beyond his personal transformation. They challenge humanity as a whole to reconsider our fundamental understanding of life, death, and the very nature of existence itself. As scientists, philosophers, and spiritual leaders grapple with the monk's account, a new paradigm of human existence begins to emerge on the horizon. Philosophers have long debated the nature of reality, but Tenzin's vivid descriptions of cosmic consciousness provide fresh fuel for these age-old discussions. Dr. Sophia Chen, a quantum physicist turned consciousness researcher, proposes a radical new perspective. What if our individual minds are merely localized expressions of a vast underlying field of awareness? Tenzin's experience suggests that consciousness may be a fundamental property of the universe itself, as essential as space or time. This notion finds unexpected support from cutting-edge physics. Dr. Michio Kaku, a renowned theoretical physicist, draws parallels between Tenzin's account and the concept of higher dimensions in string theory. The monk's description of traversing different planes of existence aligns remarkably well with our mathematical models of multiple universes. Dr. Kaku explains, it's as if his consciousness briefly accessed realms that exist beyond our everyday three-dimensional perception. The implications of these ideas are staggering. If consciousness extends beyond the confines of our physical brains, what does that mean for our understanding of death? Dr. Elizabeth Hartley, a professor of comparative religion, notes striking similarities between Tenzin's experience and accounts from various spiritual traditions. We may be witnessing different cultural interpretations of a universal truth, she suggests. Perhaps what we call death is merely a transition to another state of awareness. As exciting as these possibilities are, they also raise profound ethical and philosophical questions. If our individual consciousness is part of a greater cosmic whole, how does that change our perception of free will and personal responsibility? What are the implications for how we treat others and the environment around us? Dr. Marcus Holloway, a bioethicist at Oxford University, cautions that we must approach these new frontiers of understanding with both open-mindedness and critical thinking. As we push the boundaries of what we thought possible, he warns, we must also develop new frameworks for integrating and interpreting these experiences. The power to reshape our perception of reality comes with great responsibility. The lasting impact of Tenzin's journey extends far beyond academic circles. It challenges each of us to question our assumptions about the nature of existence and our place within the cosmos. Are we merely biological machines in a mechanistic universe, or are we integral parts of a vast conscious whole? The answers to these questions have the potential to transform not just our scientific understanding, but our very way of being in the world. As we stand on the cusp of this new paradigm, one thing becomes clear. The journey of discovery has only just begun. Tenzin's experience has opened a door, inviting us to peer beyond the veil of our limited perceptions. What wonders and challenges await us on the other side, only time and our continued exploration will tell. Tenzin's extraordinary journey beyond death has opened a portal to realms of existence that defy our current understanding. His vivid account of cosmic consciousness and encounters with beings of pure light challenges us to expand our perception of reality itself. As scientists grapple with the implications of his experience, we are forced to confront the possibility that our everyday awareness may be just a narrow slice of a vast spectrum of consciousness. The monk's revelations invite us to remain open to the profound mysteries that lie beyond our ordinary perception. They suggest that the boundaries between life and death, between individual and cosmic awareness, may be far more permeable than we once believed. As we continue to explore these frontiers of consciousness, we may discover that the greatest mysteries of existence are not found in distant galaxies, but within the uncharted depths of our own minds. Tenzin's journey serves as a catalyst, urging us to question our fundamental assumptions about the nature of reality and our place within it. It reminds us that the quest for understanding is far from over, and that the most profound discoveries may still lie ahead, waiting to be uncovered in the unexplored territories of human consciousness.